Even though we always advise everybody that the course is going to be stressful and that the workload is going to be quite intense, it usually doesn't really occur to them, or reality doesn't set in until week 2. That's when they start to see what we've been talking about. That's when there's piles of paper everywhere, and that's when they're mixing up terminology. I say meaning and they're going, yeah, okay, that's probably form. That's when everything starts to become a big cloud. So that's what we're starting to see now. Week 2, what we're starting to see happening now, what typically happens is this is when you start to see the kind of like nebulous of information, and some of it's starting to make sense but a lot of it isn't, and they're confusing terminology and it all sounds like the same thing, and they're saying things like, okay, so okay, then I'll pre-teach vocabulary, and oh wait, is that gist or pre-teach or what? And they're mixing stuff up. So some sort of gist.
I mean, I could make up a few questions, unless...
Gist will be 1.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, I'm thinking of enough to do.
Also, like, because they're handing in one assignment and other ones have been set up at the same time.
The first assignment was due this week, which was focus on the learner. We wrote a profile of the group we've been teaching and analysed a couple of problems that they've been having. So I normally don't mind writing papers, but I found it a bit difficult, but it got me thinking, which is good.
My first assignment was resubmitted for an issue with one of the exercises, and it looks like the second assignment probably will be as well.
There's a lot of talk about lack of sleep. There's also people are having, normally other family issues.
A lot of people have said personal stuff, like I had my dad visiting from Scotland, and unfortunately only got to see him for an hour or 2 just because the course takes up every minute of every day, just because you can't do any, you have to really, whenever they say it's an intense course, they're not lying. They really don't lie.
On the other hand, in the midst of that, you see all of that snowballing together, but then there's also there's moments when you see trainees, and it's a really great feeling when you see the insight, just moments of inspiration when they go, oh well, is it this? And you think, wow, that's a really, really good idea,
So have 2 copies maybe for them, one where they're just so that they don't have to go back and erase it, or should I just...
That'd be nice, that would be really good.
Also, in week 2 the criteria for assessment is higher. So in week 1 it's all classroom management, and if they're nice to the students, if they're monitoring the students, etc. But now we're really looking at how they analyse language. They have to give in lesson plans for the first time, detailed lesson plans, and they're quite weak because they haven't grasped the concepts yet. And if they have a weak plan, it unfortunately means a weak lesson. So even though they were getting a lot of kind of compliments in week 1 about how they were dealing with students, now it's different because we're really talking about how they're dealing with language.
Okay, what about the grammar? Like if you think about meaning, form and pronunciation. It was terrible.
I'm trying to figure out, even I don't know how this works. I was looking through all the grammar, how can I make anyone understand this?
Where I think you kind of tripped up is you were trying to do 2, maybe do the first one and kind of make them understand that first target sentence, and then do that, and then you could relate it then into the second target sentence.
Yeah. The board did get quite messy with different sentences and timelines, but you did use your timelines, you did CCQs, you did some drilling. I thought the feedback was very clear to the control practice as well. And you did a very good rapport, you praised them all the time for their answers. They're obviously much more comfortable with the students they teach now. So there's a growing confidence when they're up in front of the students, which obviously the students feel and respond to as well. The one great thing obviously with our students is that they're very sympathetic. They know that these people have not taught grammar maybe before, so if they're making a few mistakes, they're on their side, which is really important.